You look like you're trying to poke me in the face, Greg. What are you doing?
Yeah. I'm trying to scroll to see who else. I only see like 7 people in the meeting, but you guys said there's more in here. Like it doesn't even show me.
It says Jennifer, Mary, Franklin Township, which I guess is Jeff, Jack, Kyle, and you.
You're good to go, young man.
Okay, thank you. All right, so this is the May Pro Board meeting, official start. We'll start off with any public comment. Is there any public comment?
Is there any public? Can you tell, Jeff?
It looks like just Jack is all I see, unless.
Jack, our pickleball expert, is here.
Would you like to chime in, Jack? You're on mute.
You're on mute, Jack. Hit your space bar.
How's that? Is that
There
better?
you go.
Just the one comment. I was over at the pickleball court this morning with Jeff, and he gave me a tool to try to fix the fencing and with some ties. And I went over this afternoon and did some work on it. And I didn't complete it, but I got some of it done. But what I really need is a higher ladder. I only have a 10-foot ladder, and there's one section that really needs to be tied down at the top of the fence in one area. And I wasn't sure whether the township has a higher step ladder that I could use.
We have a little giant ladder, Jack, so that can be used straight out or as an A-frame. More than happy to let you use it.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Jeff, I just, I don't know. I'm personally nervous about somebody working at heights. I know like at our company, like that's not allowed through our insurance. I'm not saying, Jeff, that it's not allowed at the township, but like that's actually like an exclusion in our insurance policy to let anybody work at height. It's specifically not allowed on our job sites. So I'm
Well,
just,
That's why I'm going to have Jack sign a volunteer form.
okay. Okay.
That's a
Yeah.
good idea.
I think, if you had right now, like I only have a 10-foot ladder and I didn't want to do it. It was actually kind of windy this afternoon. So if I had like I said, a 12 to 14-foot step ladder, it would be, and it's only one section that needs to be tied down.
Just the mom in me is like, can you make sure you have somebody with you just in case?
Yeah, I can do that. I can have somebody hold the ladder while I'm doing it.
Okay, I just wouldn't even, and have them sign the volunteer form too. I just wouldn't even want.
No, that's fine. I will have someone there with me while I'm doing the work.
Okay. We're just worried about your safety. I just want to make sure nobody gets
No,
hurt.
I completely understand.
Okay. And thank you for doing that.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. Not a problem.
All right, well, we'll move on to the approval of minutes. I'll make a motion to approve the April Pro Board meeting minutes. Seconded by anyone? Mary? Seconded by Mary?
Yes, I'm unmuted now.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? No. All right, so that's approved. All right, so I'll get right into some of the stuff that we've accomplished. So for those that aren't aware, the supervisors have approved the funding for the healing garden, the pickleball court, and the comfort station work. As far as the healing garden, I've confirmed with Karen at Natural Lands, who's doing the design, and she's stated that she's going to start ASAP on the design. I'm hoping to hear back from her regarding some of the stone donation from Mary McVeigh, because she's trying to get those moved out of her property and trying to figure out if we're going to use those and how much, but so as far as I know, she's working on the design. I haven't heard back about the, what we're going to do with the stones.
I would encourage her to use that donation. That would be.
Yeah. I mean, it's
a big supporter, and that would be good to be able to use them.
Yeah, I agree. And I think she was going to use them. It's just, I think Mary's trying to figure out what to do with them because she's having Jim, what's his name? I'm sorry, Jim Durazio. He's moving them, and he was willing to move them over to Crossing, but he's not going to move them all if we're only using a little bit. Or
yeah, I just have him move them all to the pad where the chips are, but Jeff would know better.
Okay, yeah, that's what Mary was wondering. Is that a safe place to store them?
Maybe if she doesn't, or if Jeff doesn't feel safe, we could put him over in the Franklin Preserve parking area where it's behind a gate.
Right, where like some of those other wood chips are.
Yeah, I hate to throw them in the dirt because then you lose some in the dirt unless we, then if you put down a tarp, then tarp tears up and it's hard to get it together. But
right,
is there a slab over there still, or is that gone?
Paul, that's over there, and right now it's got some Dymatex on it and playground mulch. So I can't tell you right now if.
No, I mean the Franklin Preserve parking area. Is there a slab there? Where the
mushroom house used to be.
Yeah, where the house used to be.
I'll say there's probably somewhat of a slab. It's probably been partially covered over with mulch and weeds and dirt and other stuff.
Anyway, we could put it there or on the, maybe Jimmy has a good thought on where to put it. But that's my ideas.
Okay.
And I know I'm behind on getting it done, but at some point we do need to get the timbers from Dave Gerstenhaber. I just was thinking, instead of moving them all over to the township, wait to hear what we need. And if some need to go to township and some need to go to Crossing, then we're not unloading them and having to reload them and move them again.
Yeah, that works. Did you by chance reach out to Signature Landscape? Have you talked to them?
They're actually stopping by to pick up a check in a few minutes from us. They're doing some work for us, but I haven't talked to them. I didn't want to say that they had wanted until, I know you had said it, but I just wasn't sure what your final plans were.
Yeah, the plan was to use them. So, unless someone thinks otherwise, I think it's okay to let them know, just so
okay, so they
can put it on their radar.
Okay, do you want them to start or wait till the design gets done?
I'd probably say wait till the design.
Okay.
I made sure Karen, that she's aware that, they're part of the process and they're doing all that work and not doing the plant installation, but, all the other stuff that we talked about.
Okay. Would you be available sometime tomorrow or Friday, and I'll reach out to you and just make sure I tell them the right thing?
Yeah.
I'm just not sure protocol, and I guess I'm nervous too. Maybe Paul knows how this works. Is they're doing work for us at my house. I just wanted to make sure it doesn't seem inappropriate that they're also doing stuff for the township. I don't know how that works. I don't want to play favorites or any stuff. I don't know. Paul, have you ever experienced that?
No, I've had many opportunities where I could use some township contractors because you get familiar with them and know their skills, and I just avoided it because of that.
Okay. Do you think there's a conflict? I don't want to cause a problem.
It's not a conflict because you're not you don't have the authority to spend money.
Okay. So I'm not a supervisor. So I didn't make any decision. Right. It was not up to me to hire them. I only just recommended them because I trusted them, but I don't really even know them that well, other than they've been reliable.
Right. So, but I try to avoid it just because of the appearance of it.
Okay. So I hope I didn't mess that up, but I'll reach out to you, Greg, and just make sure I tell them the right thing, so I don't
Okay.
Yeah,
we can go over it.
And as far as overseeing them, I would rather not, because now they're doing work for me, and I don't want to
right,
make it look inappropriate. So.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay. And then as far as the pickleball, since Jack's here, Jeff, you said that that work was going to take place in June, mid-June, is that correct?
I was told by Mr. LaFever early to mid-June, so I sent him the signed contract. I copied you and Paul on it. He's not a big email or text person, but I did reach out to him by phone, and that's what he told me.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
so Jeff, two thoughts on that while they're in my head here. I guess you're going to manage that project when he comes out. One is when he removes the existing sleeves, poles and sleeves, he needs to take care to fill them flush with concrete. Where like if the sleeve sticks up just a little bit from the surface, that's going to be in the middle, exact middle of the new playing surface. So that would be really bad to have that as a tripping hazard there, right? So pay careful attention and explain to him that we need to fill those old sleeves very clean and flush with the surface so there's minimal, disturbance or trip hazard.
Understood. And just to keep the process moving along smoothly, once I get a firm date, I will let Greg and Paul, and I will certainly let Jack know as well. But I get your point.
So one other
take-
thought. What's that?
I appreciate your comment, and I agree with you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, because some of the other bidders were more specific about how much effort they were going to do to remove that old, block of concrete. So I don't want him to leave it rough. So one other comment is the color of the paint is yellow right now, and it looked like, Jack, you picked yellow for the new paint, and I was really surprised by that because that's, I think, probably the least contrast possible. I would think a darker color against the cement would be recommended, like a dark blue, black, green, whatever. Yellow is almost the color of the concrete. So would you consider some other color?
I would certainly consider, when I talked to our group, we basically talked about either white or yellow, and we didn't want to go with white because of the, it wouldn't contrast against the concrete that well, but a darker color, I guess I wouldn't feel badly about using a darker color too.
Well, think about like on a highway when there's concrete pavement on the highway, not black asphalt, concrete pavement. They do this striping, but they put a black background behind it because white and yellow don't show up well on concrete. So maybe, I would suggest a darker one, and I don't care if it's green or blue or.
Well, the balls are yellow too, so I wouldn't go with yellow.
Oh, well, that's a good point. I didn't know the balls are yellow.
Yeah, most of the balls we use are yellow.
And if your group isn't sure, just get some blue masking tape and stick it down next to the existing yellow line, and then go out there on a bright sunny day, because that's the worst when contrast is at its least. When it's a bright sunny day, you don't get any contrast, and you'll see that blue tape sticks out much better than the yellow line.
Yeah, I would go with blue.
Yeah, I think the group would be satisfied with a darker color.
All right. So
Yeah.
Jeff, could you switch that color to a darker color? Now,
One comment I have about that is right now, if you look at the lines are like 3.5 inches wide,
yep.
and the standard width of the line should be 2 inches.
Yeah, I saw that on your spec, so I think that's clear to the bidder.
Okay, great.
So one other thought on the line is we don't want to pay a premium though, Jeff. So if he says, blue is extra charge, but dark green is not, we just want to, whatever color's not an extra charge, right?
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. So Jeff, I would be all right with blue, black, or green, just dark, whatever's dark. The only color we should not use is dark red, because red is the least UV stable and it will fade to pink the fastest.
Okay. Yeah, because our balls are typically yellow. Once in a while, we have some pink or red ones, but most of the time they're yellow.
All right, that's all my thoughts on pickleball.
Okay, cool. All right, so moving on. So we got another third quote for the paving of the basketball courts and the driveway / parking lot area.
Oh, the ceiling.
The ceiling, correct?
I
Yeah.
didn't see it. Did it come in today? I didn't see it.
Yes, I forwarded it to you this morning.
Sorry, I didn't see it. So what is
Yeah.
it?
So
Oh, do we have three now? We have three, right? We can talk about it?
yeah, we have three. So we can pull it up. You want me to share, or you want to?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
right.
Well, you have trouble with that, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Let me.
Let me see if I can find it.
Paul, roughly, it was about 8:30 to 9:30 this morning. I sent it to both of you.
And I think you have to turn on sharing, Jeff.
No,
I understand. I'm trying to get that done.
There's one at 12. Let's see.
There we
Yeah,
go.
8:24 this morning.
There's three things attached. Which one do I open?
One's basketball. One is
The
green
yellow
section.
area. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
green and yellow.
So he has it as proposal 3 and proposal 2.
All right. Do you want?
So-
Paul, you want me to try to do it, or you want to just go for it?
No, I got it. I can do it.
All right.
So I want to share. Share. Share screen. Got it. Is this it?
That is not, sir. That is the specs that I sent him.
I'm getting there.
It would be today's date, Paul.
Oh, that's not the, oh, that's Tuesday, May 4th. Oh, geez.
I should have it right here if you
Go ahead.
want.
Go ahead and share it.
I'll give it a go. It says, oh, here we go.
Greg and Paul, you're both co-hosts now.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes. I see
Okay.
your email lists.
Yeah. All right. So should be this one. Not that one. Where'd it go? Is it? Okay. I'll just start with the first one. Basketball. So this is Action Seal Coatings basketball court estimate. And try to show as much as I can there. So that one came in at $1,855. You see that there?
Yep.
Okay.
That includes filling the cracks and restriping the paint, the lines.
Yeah, right. Okay. Everyone good on that one?
Yeah, I don't remember what the other bidders were.
So I jotted them down. Lefevre came in at 1525 for the basketball. And Superior came in at 1500 for basketball. So this was the highest quote out of the three.
I didn't know Lefevre quoted basketball ceiling.
He did.
Did he quote the parking lot too?
He did.
Yeah.
He was the third bidder?
Actually, Action Seal Coating was.
Well, yeah. So who were the three bidders? Lefevre, Superior, and Action?
Yes,
Yardworks wasn't in there?
he did not want to bid on it.
Okay. All right, Greg, let's see the,
All right, I'll go to the next one here. So this is, so are we still considering the green or are we just focused on the yellow areas?
yellow.
Yellow, okay. So here's yellow. Came in at 59.50 and 61 cents. Very specific.
That cracks me up.
It's 61 cents. Couldn't round it up.
Yeah.
Superior was 6,150.
Wow, these guys are tight.
Is 61.50, and then Lefevre, what I have 71.47.
So I guess we should look at them combined, right? Because their action's lower on one and higher on the other.
We would need,
Yeah.
we would need to do it as a combined project. We're not going to get them to split it up and give us the same pricing.
Right.
So yeah, I added them up.
Oh, okay. What's the totals?
So Lefevre's the highest. They came in at 86.72. Next was Action, who came in at 78.06. And then Superior was the lowest at 76.50.
76.50.
Yeah. So there was less than $150 difference between
Yeah,
Superior.
that's tight. See,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good bidding right there. That means, we're in the market, meaning like last time I had some outliers, but this time they're pretty tight. That's good.
Right. So,
Well, let's make sure he's got, hold on. I want to read this proposal. Oil spots repair with primer, 2 coats of custom blend, 4 pounds of sand per gallon. So that's the same.
same product and everything.
I don't know. This just says 2 coats of sealer. Jeff, do you remember if the other one had? Or do you have? So we're looking at Superior against Action, right?
Correct.
Right.
Does
And
anybody-
what I ended up doing was Action got the same specs that Superior did.
Right.
Do you want me to try to find the Superior quote?
Yeah, I have it hard copy here somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to vote on it and then we find out it's a different bid.
Right, right.
Paul, would you like me to read the one from Superior?
Yeah. Oh, you can't show it? No.
I cannot, sir, since I'm on my home computer.
Let me, I'm sure I have it in my email. It's just a matter of where it is. Okay, let me pull it up. I found it. There we go. So this guy. So that's green and yellow. This is yellow. There you go.
The only difference I see is 3 pounds versus 4 pounds of silica.
What, say that again?
See, the second sentence says the sealer contains at least 3 pounds of silica per gallon for non-skid, for traction.
Uh-huh.
The other bidder said 4 pounds of silica. But I don't know what's better. I mean, I don't know if there's a big difference.
Right. Yeah. Does the warranty make a big deal? Because I don't know if the other one had any warranty stuff.
I think they're all taillight warranties.
What's that like? As once they drive away?
Yep. Once they drive away, you can't see their taillights anymore. It's not warranted.
Well, this says it. They offer a 1-year warranty on the product and workmanship.
What does that mean, though? How do you define failure?
Right. Good question.
I guess if it's peeling up or washed away.
Right.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on this? There's not a lot of chatter about it, but I think it's, I think Action Seal Superior came in close, and I don't have any reason to not give it to the lowest bidder. So I would say it's just Superior. Any thoughts? Jeff, this is kind of your thing.
Well, the only one that I have experience with and I've seen work at commercial sites is Superior. So I've always liked their work. I have not seen the other two companies or their work. So I can just go by.
I got action from, they did the Avon Grove Little League parking lot 2 years ago. And so they, it's a much bigger parking lot than what we're asking. And it's striped and sealed, and it was a good job. So that's where I got it.
Yeah.
But I'm good with Superior.
Yeah, I'm not being pulled one way or the other. I can just say I've seen Superior's work. And it's good.
Right.
I like the idea of not, I know Lefevre is not in the price range, but I'm also concerned that if we give them so much stuff and they fail at one, and then we're stuck with them for another.
Right.
So I'm hoping they, do a great job on the pickleball course, but we wouldn't want them to have all our money. And then,
Yeah. Spread it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So, is everyone kind of leaning towards Superior? Save us $150 or so? Give or
Yep.
take?
That's my vote.
Okay.
I'll second it, or if you guys are making a motion.
Yeah, you want to, or you want to make the motion, or somebody? I can.
Go ahead. Let it rip.
All right. So I'll make a motion to award the contract to
Are we
Superior.
awarding it, or we're recommending it too?
To recommend the contract of Superior Seal Coating for the basketball courts and the yellow section of the parking/driveway.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
All right.
All opposed? Say nay.
So one comment here, I didn't hear any nays. So
Okay.
one comment here is, while you're voting, I'm reading that this price is only good for 30 days at the bottom, and this price was in October of last year.
Oh,
So I would say our vote is contingent upon them honoring this same cost.
right.
I can double check it
Yeah.
before the meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, now we have to have a little bit more discussion about this. There's some concern about closing the parking lot and entrance because a lot of people use it.
Right.
So, I think we can address that, and I think that concern is unfounded where.
Yeah, Paul, so I heard that part of the meeting, and I was surprised that they were so adamant about waiting until after sports were, because I think you had a good plan about alternative parking, but they seem to.
So I missed that discussion, Jennifer. When was that? Was that late at 1 in the morning, or what was that?
That was before the the desabotage, it was before the house stuff. I think it was, I don't know, Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, it was like around 10 o'clock. And they were just talking about that it would be a problem with Little League and they didn't want to shut it down and they wanted to wait till later in the summer.
So,
But I didn't want to chime in because I wasn't sure what their reasoning was. And it seemed like it was more something like Donna was just a concern of Donna's. And Mary seemed to be on board with that concern.
yeah, so
Is there any temperature issue with this?
yeah, it has to be done in the warm months. You can't do it in the winter.
Okay.
Is it possible it could be too warm if they did it in July? Though
No, my understanding, August is their favorite month.
okay. So I mean, I guess if Donna and Mary were leaning towards waiting till July or August, that's fine.
Jeff, is that what you understand? When do they like to apply this?
They like to apply at the hottest months of the year, which is July and August. That's their preferable times.
Yeah,
And Jeff, your understanding was that Donna and Mary seemed, I mean, I just don't want to be misquoting anybody, but Greg, do you remember, I thought I remember them saying that they were concerned about the parking lot and it affecting Little League and sports in May and June.
Yeah, I slightly remember it.
It was getting really late. I also was
Yeah.
logging and logging out, logging in, logging out.
so
Yeah, I remember the discussion.
Okay, yeah. And it
But
seemed like it wasn't a definite, but they just didn't like the idea of any way even having to accept it.
Yeah,
Almost to the point where if it was a problem, they were going to try to put this off to another year.
yeah. Who's paying for this, roads or our budget? Because it doesn't sound like roads
roads.
is planning on it.
Yeah, so we had to take it out of the roads. That was the agreement, that it would come out of roads, but they just bid the road contract, and if the bidders are overrun, then there won't be any money for us, right?
That's what yeah.
But if the bidders come in under and there's $6,000 left or 7,000, whatever this is, then maybe we'll have a chance. So a few comments. So yeah, I understand there is some concern from some board members and some other people about affecting the little, right, or the users of the park. So I think we have a good plan to adjust that. But during the week, I want to remind the board that most things going on at the park are practices, right? Most games are on the weekend. And the Little League plays no games at the park. They don't like the fields. They're just for practice. Now, other leagues play there too, like soccer and lacrosse and flag football. And so, maybe there is something during the week. But for the upper fields, parking at Franklin Preserve where the house was and walking through the hedgerow, I think is perfectly acceptable. Now for the lowest field, down where the soccer field is, that is a long walk, right? No argument there. And I think for 2 nights, they could manage that. Or, if we give them a month's notice, they could arrange for their practice to be at some other park for those 2 nights.
So it's a little bit's coming back to me now. I think what it was, Paul, is they had already have this agreement with the teams and they didn't want to have to go back and tell them that they would have to rearrange their practices at all. And they were going to put this off until next year so that they could say that you can have practices, but in advance, we're telling you that this is going to happen. And I just didn't like the idea of putting it off a year.
Yeah, I don't want to put off a year either. That's why I'm pushing this, because it's so bad and cracked.
So I don't know if they need one of us to call or if somebody who, it doesn't seem like.
Yeah, that's right. We could talk to the leagues and see the effect, but.
Yeah, it sounded like Mary and Donna didn't want any parts of having to renegotiate this at all.
And it's funny because there's no negotiation, right? It's our property, we decide, and they pay us, Jeff, you can correct me, but they pay us like $200 a year for the whole season or something crazy.
Right. It seemed like it was such
what is it, Jeff? How much do they pay?
They pay $1,000 a year, but also keep this in mind. We can't at the end of this year or next month say July 4th, 5th, and 6th next year, we're going to be seal coating this. It could be weather, it could be anything else.
Yeah,
Right.
so
That's a very good point.
But
It's gonna be-
say $1,000 a year. Is that each league or is that the total income?
That's each league.
Each league, I wonder how many leagues there are.
So Little League, flag football, agri soccer.
Do you
So
have the schedule?
I do at work, Paul. I don't hear.
Yeah.
Again,
And I don't think it affects Mary and Donna. I think they just didn't want to inconvenience them. I mean, I guess, they're technically elected, so I guess they don't want to make their constituents upset. But I don't know that they realized it was only going to be 2 days, or I don't,
Right.
it was just all in vague terms. So I think it was more, but I honestly think, Paul, you have the ability to probably make Mary and Donna feel better about it, that if you, consult it with them, that they'd be fine with it. But I think maybe when you guys do the write-up to them, maybe explain that, we're happy to reach out to the leagues and make it as convenient as possible.
And we're only affecting the lower field. So it's just one league. I think the upper fields can still play or practice or whatever they need to do that is 2 nights, right?
correct.
I think it's possible. We need to lock the front gates and then post a sign that says temporary parking with an arrow to the west. And then another sign at the entrance that says temporary parking here, arrow in. And then make sure the path is clear between that and the parking lot.
Just my opinion, for what it's worth. We're gonna have to bite the bullet and do it. At some point, someone's going to be inconvenienced with the leagues, and we just
Right.
have to all work together.
And,
Right. And I think you're right, Jeff. There's no way to predict what next year will bring. Like, we
and
could,
just like last night or the night before, it rained and all leagues were washed out, right? It's like, it's not a big deal for the kids to change their practices or
Right.
nights. Yeah, if we were taking it out for weeks at a time, I would not agree to that. But for 2 nights, and it's to improve their park. So I would think there's some. Jeff, didn't you send me the calendar one time a few months ago or a few weeks ago?
I did, sir. I remember sending it to you, but like I said, I'm on my home computer, so I can't bring it up here. But if you don't have it, Paul and Greg, I'm happy to send it to you tomorrow.
I was just hoping to show the group. All right, well, I'll talk to Joan and some of the supervisors to see, because if we send this recommendation in, we don't want it to just be bounced out and they say, let's wait till next summer, right? We want to explain to them the plan to make sure we can show that we can get it done.
so I think that just needs to be part of the write-up when you present that you guys have voted on Superior. That needs to be included. Only because it sounded like Donna likes it all in front of her, and she wants to be able to think about that before we present it, or you present it, to the board.
Right.
Paul, if you could, I know I'm picking on you, Paul, but if you could talk to Mr. Gerstenhaber, that would be a good thing.
Okay.
So, are you guys seeing me, or are you seeing my screen?
Just
You.
Can you maybe turn me off as the host? Because I just keep seeing share screen on my screen for some reason. If you don't mind.
I just did that, so hopefully it worked.
It still has this blurry screen for some reason.
Okay. Because it said withdraw co-host, which I did for you, Mr. Sachs.
Yeah, I can't. Oh, there we go. Now I see you guys. Okay. Yeah, and I know we've decided on Superior, but assuming that the other and I forgot the name of the action, they said it was a 24 to 48 hour dry time. So, it could be dry in 24 hours.
Yeah, I keep hearing 48 hours to be sure, just to be safe.
Right. Okay, so 2
The
days.
reason is a parking lot, you get wheels turned, meaning when people pull out of their space and they're not moving, but they're turning their wheel, that's pretty rough on the seal and coat. So you want it to be good and dry.
Gotcha. Okay.
And Jeff is gonna contact Superior, Jeff, to make sure that the price is still good.
I am, and then I'm gonna see how far out their work schedule stretches right now.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
So, July or August may be better because the Little League will be over and then you're just into whatever leagues are left. That's why I wanted to bring up the calendar so we can see who uses it when.
Yeah, and I guess the only other thing is like, has anybody rented the pavilions? Jeff, you would be able to know that ahead of time, right?
Yeah, we know that ahead of time and, we can adjust accordingly, so it won't be a surprise to a renter.
We can block out the week for that and not.
Oh, absolutely, we can.
Yeah, we just know that, just to make sure nobody's rented it now. I wouldn't want to mess up graduation parties or,
No, we would coordinate, look at that, if the board will agree to doing this.
So it was only rented once this year so far, right? Or twice, something, maybe because of.
I know, say at least 2 or 3 times, and then we've had some calls over this last week about someone interested in renting it again. So it's not often that it happens, but we keep track of that.
Maybe it'll pick up now that the rules are relaxing a little bit for gatherings.
yeah, I think if there's going to be graduation parties, it's going to be May, June, early July, but nothing in August.
They
So,
have in the backyard where you can have a keg.
so I was looking up Superior. There was an email from them back in March that they said add $250 to total cost to do the basketball courts alone. Was
Yeah, that's if we just said we wanted to do the basketball court. We're
okay.
gonna do the basketball court and the upper parking lot. It's like, don't worry about it, kind of a thing.
Oh, because it's like Lefevre, like they're already out, so they're getting the money.
Right. It also says that proposal did not include any crack repair. So if we need to add that, it would be approximately 200.
For the basketball or the because Superior says in their second paragraph, fill cracks.
Does it? Yeah, this is from Superior.
Let me make sure. Wait,
Greg, that's what I was talking about, the $250. So what they were telling me was if we gave them the job of the upper parking lot, the lane and the basketball court, don't worry about the $200 for the crack filling.
Okay,
They're here, they'll do it.
gotcha.
So if we were just going to hold their feet to the fire and say, just do the basketball court, he was saying add $200.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. All right. Was there any other comments on that work? No. All right. So just moving on, just an update, Steve. What's
I
that?
apologize. I found
Okay.
the league schedule.
Oh, nice.
You mind if I just share that a second?
Yeah.
Oh, I can share, yes. Can you see an Excel spreadsheet?
I see it.
So it's pretty, it's not by the day, it's just blocks of months, right? So the orangish is Evergrove Little League. And so they have through July for the 2 softball, the baseball and softball field. And then
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, sir, but tomorrow it would be so easy for me to email you the actual contracts.
is this not the schedule?
That's the schedule, but I'm saying the meat of the contract, if you would want to see that.
Yeah, sure.
I'm happy to do that.
But I'm looking past July. The only 2 left are multi-purpose field A, which I don't know what that is, Jeff. What is multi-purpose field A?
That is the outfield for the 90-foot baseball field.
All right, so that's an upper field. These first three are upper fields. And then this one, Field C, multi-purpose field, that's the soccer field?
That's the lower field in the east meadow. Or right meadow, whatever you want to call it.
And so it looks like flag football, red, and white clay soccer, blue, are the only ones using it in August. And then what is the Avenue Grove Rec Association? What field do they use? Because, oh, it's the multi-purpose field, okay. What is that, by the way? What's the Rec Association?
It could either be soccer or lacrosse off the top of my head right now.
Okay. All right, well, August looks like the minimal disturbance.
Right. Okay.
Paul, is it overstepping if when Jeff talks to Superior tomorrow to confirm the price, that he asked them to hold a week in August just for now and make sure we don't schedule pavilions and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's good. But you can't award them the contract until the board approves.
Right. Is that possible, Jeff, to just ask them as a courtesy until next week if they could hold a week in August?
I can talk to them about it, but to be honest, I doubt they're going to do it. If they get a paying customer before we agree, they're going to go to that paying customer.
Yeah, if you could just ask them, like, just to get an idea, maybe just.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep,
that would be
yep,
awesome.
yep.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
All right. Moving on.
How do I stop?
So, what's that?
How do I Go ahead.
All right.
You
I
just-
still see your screen, not that it
I know,
matters.
you take it from me when you need it.
All right. All right. So Steve Cottrell, who was the volunteer local resident who does the invasive management, I just got an update from him that in June, he's going to start working on our Tree of Heaven infestation at Crossing. He did fill out all of his volunteer forms, and he sent over his paperwork, so we should be good to go on that. And then he said, as time permits, he'll work on other invasive stuff. And I think he's basically going to just focus all at Crossing for the time being.
That's
So
great.
that's all. Yeah. So free volunteer labor is awesome. Okay. So next was trail mapping. And Mary, I saw you sent over that lovely map. I don't know,
Yeah.
do you want to pull that up and we can discuss that, or?
You want me to pull it up or can you?
No, I can try it.
Okay, cool.
I'm still, let me see. Oh, sorry, Jeff, can you, there we go.
So this isn't the trail mapping. This is just the open space
Oh, right, I'm sorry.
map that I brought up. Yeah.
All right, well, we'll go over it since we got it here.
Yeah. It's just an overview. I don't have any street names or anything in there that are in the township. So, because it was just overcrowding because there was too many streets. So, if you have like an area that you want more information on, just let me know and I can zoom in and put the street names, owners' names, whatever you guys want in there. But I went back and did all the green. Actually, the Big Elk Preserve, is that all of that property, like including the top? See how I just have the bottom one labeled? Is the top one Big Elk Preserve as well?
Can you put your mouse over where you're talking about, Mary? So I
Greg, can
just be.
I don't-
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't have a mouse. I'm on a
Oh,
iPad, but it's the bottom left. See where it says Big Elk Preserve? On the bottom?
yes.
I think you're talking about the other section to the like upper left of that, right?
He's talking about
Yeah,
north.
yeah, the northwest.
Northwest, right?
North of Stricklersville, Jeff. I think the lower section was preserved first and the second section above Stricklersville was preserved second, but
I agree with Mr. Overton.
so I think it is all the same preserve now.
I just wanted to check with labeling. Because it kind of right now looks like it's not part of it.
I didn't know that was the new name.
According to the website, I got the map off of the township website.
I
Yeah,
like it.
it's a big, long name.
It's like White Clay Creek at Big Elk or something, or I don't know. So I think Big Elk Preserve. That's a little bit easier to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just had a question for you, Mary. So the 10 acres, the pink ones, those are all one owner, right?
Yes.
And then the stripe, like the brownish with the stripes, that's 10 acres with multiple?
Yes, with multiple parcels.
But it adds up to more than 10 acres.
It adds up to more than 10 acres, yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's
And
all
then,
one, but it's all one owner,
I'm sorry?
but it's all one owner.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So Paul, that's like what you were explaining, like you might own 5 and then across the street you own another 5,
Mhm.
but the same owner.
Right. Like different parcels, but same owner.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Looks awesome, Mary. Thank you.
So what's the orange moldable parcels?
They are parcels that have, you know what? Hold on, let me think.
Because the other one says 10 and moldable. So that means they have 110 plus more, maybe? Is that what that is?
I'll
Where's that?
also look on my map. I'm trying to think. It might be, you know, I think it is. I think the hatching is that parcel is 10 acres. And then the non-hatched is those 2 parcels add up to 10 acres.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know if I could word that better in the legend or.
Well, I think, what we're driving at is which ones should be targets or priorities, or, should we contact the homeowner,
Right.
the landowner? And so that's the next step, is to derive from this, a list of top 10 or top 20 parcels that we could knock on some doors and explain to them the preservation process and land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Paul, do you guys focus, do we focus on property that can then be reached by other property so that like there is public access? Like we obviously don't want something that's like in the middle of something that nobody can get to.
So there isn't technically supposed to be anything that's landlocked. There's always supposed to be access. But I know there are a few stranded parcels, but they're not supposed to be. But yeah, when you get the list, that's where you start. And then you start culling through it. And if you say, well, this parcel is 50 acres, but it's all swamp, you can only build 2 houses in here. Well, then we kind of push that to the bottom of the list, right? And you say, this one's only 40 acres, but it's perfectly flat and has roads on 2 sides. You could develop it to the maximum number of houses. Well, that would be a high priority. So but the next step is to make the list, and then we start looking at them one at a time. And maybe another one is, oh, I know that owner.
Hmm.
That guy doesn't want anything to do with us. We've talked to him for the last 10 years, skip him.
Hmm.
We'll get some of that too.
And is this something that we could have like an executive session on?
Yeah, we have to, because, right, we don't want to throw around names, and, it's because it's.
Because I think I live in this bottom, the far right corner, or the orange, and I wouldn't want to name names, but I would want advice, how to handle it.
You're an orange parcel. You have multiple parcels?
No, I'm not personally, but I live in that neighborhood. I live in Mount Olivet Farms.
Ah,
So I think there's some people in our neighborhood who meet those guidelines.
yep,
If you know what, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
I do. I can see the parcel.
Yeah. So I don't know,
Yeah,
best
so
way to
you're
approach
right. It wouldn't be appropriate to talk about it in a public session.
Okay.
But I mean, looking at the map is fine, and talking about what the next step is. The next step is getting the list together.
Okay.
And then another aspect would be, hey, this parcel is right next to a preserved parcel. So that would give it a higher score. So if we applied for a grant, you would score better because they try to preserve big blocks. They don't want little pieces all over the place.
Mhm.
So like Franklin Preserve is preserved, and then right next to it is some stripes. So I say, oh, well, what's that? Let's explore those striped parcels.
It's kind of an odd parcel right next to on the west side there.
Well, the biggest one is Pico.
Is that what that little yellow like line is? That next on the west side of Franklin Preserve? I mean, I guess we shouldn't discuss if it's private, but
No, that's Pico.
It's Pico.
okay, gotcha.
So that would be at the bottom of the list because we know it's not going to get developed anyway.
Right,
right. But
but yeah, there's some
it's a substation. Yeah.
right. Okay.
I can make up a atlas that brings stuff in like to a smaller view so you can see. I can label floodplains. I can do adjacent parcels to the preserves. And I can put road names in, which would probably be very helpful. So I can do that for you guys.
Well,
And that'll, instead of just looking at one big map, you'll be able to check out little sections.
but the map is helpful because once you get the list, and then you say parcel XYZ, and we're like, well, where's that? What's that? And then this helps us see where it is, how it fits in.
Yeah.
Connected to. That's the helpful part of the
Mhm.
map. So making the list is the next thing.
Okay.
And then like some of these parcels, I like how you have them sticking out into the next township because the landowner, straddles the line.
Yeah.
But that complicates the deal. So that's kind of a negative for us, right? Oh, we got to deal with New London or London Grove, and that's not very helpful. But if it's on the other side, London Britain, well, they're interested in preservation. That would be cool.
Mhm.
Cool. All right.
Now trails. What do we have on trails, Paul?
I didn't read my email this week, so I'm hoping we don't have anything. But what we have, did he send us anything, Mary? I didn't see.
I didn't get anything.
All right. But what we did was I finally got out there with Mike Little from the county, and he was very generous. He brought out the county GPS equipment, and we walked all wooded trails in Crossan.
Oh, wow.
So not the asphalt ones, because they didn't change since the last mapping.
Right.
And he has the GIS data from the original map. He said he was the one who made it. So he has the GIS. So we went through all the trails in the woods, including the ones at the bottom that flood, and then the new ones that the mountain biking people are making. And then he said he would, he's been working from home, but that he would have to go into the office to use some different program to stitch it all together.
Yeah.
On a map for us.
So is he going to make the official map for the township?
Yeah, but we don't want him to put out the official one until we fix those lower trails, because there's no use putting out a map and then posting it
Yeah.
everywhere, and then it gets revised. So
Is there any way that I can get that data, that new data?
yeah, I think he'll send it to you at the same time he sends it to me, right?
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just stepped in for Mary because she had to stay at home for a kid commitment or something, right? So
Homeschooling, man. I want to shoot myself in the face. You have no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, no problem, but no problem. It was it was a Friday afternoon. It was sunny and great temperature. It was a really nice day to get outside.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, I took a half-day vacation. So, so we'll see if the crossing map comes in from Mike Little, and that should be helpful.
Cool.
One more thing on trails is the mountain bike club. Greg, can you bring up the crossing map? Or go to
Like
Google?
the county,
The one
map?
that's on the township website. It says crossing.
yeah. Let me see. Franklin Township,
That's it. And then down the lower left, it says parks or something.
Parks and Preserves.
Yeah. And right there you go, that one.
There you go.
Yeah, so all the gray trails, scroll up a little bit. The gray trails we didn't walk, the brown ones in the green slash marks, that's where we walk. But to the left is Franklin Preserve. So the new map will include both parcels together. Right now it's just crossing. And
Nice.
Preserve is not even shown. But I asked them to have it all on one map. And I know they're separate preserves, but we shouldn't treat it like that. We should treat it as one space for the residents.
So you guys walked all the trails over towards Franklin Preserve as well?
Say that again?
You guys walked all the wooded trails over going into the preserve as well?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And so there's only two over there. And one
Right.
is a big loop that goes around, almost the perimeter of Franklin Preserve. It doesn't go into the lower area because it's too wet, and it doesn't go across all the way across the field to the Pico property. But he did a good job staying in the trees and hedgerows because we don't want trails going through the open fields. They're harder to maintain. You have to mow them a lot.
Mm.
So the bike club did a good job.
My
But
dog goes after those bikers now.
is that right?
We don't have a fence, so you can see across the street.
Does he run across the street?
He has, yes.
That's dangerous.
I know, it's horrible.
So we had a Boy Scout lined up, Jonathan something, and he was
Yeah.
going to build a bridge across the bottom here well, I'm pointing with my mouse and you can't see it.
Yeah.
It's on the north end where that stream is just off the page there. We were going to put a bridge, and that was going to be an Eagle Scout project. And I hadn't heard from him since last fall, so I contacted him a week or two ago. And he's like, very apologetic. Sorry, I haven't gotten back to you. And so I informed him now that the way the trail is laid out, we need the bridge at the south end. So at the bottom of your screen, right close to Mary's backyard there. The stream, yeah, thank you. Keep going. It goes under Parsons Road and starts like at a drain right there, right at your neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the headwaters of the stream. It's dry for the first, 300 yards or something, except when there's a storm. And then there's enough springs feeding it that after that little globe symbol, it runs pretty much, most of the year. So this bridge would be just 50 feet off of Parsons Road where the stream is at its smallest. And it would be a much easier project for the Scout. So I informed him that we just want to move the bridge up there. But the bikers are getting anxious, impatient. They got this great trail now and they're riding it, but they have to walk their bike across the ditch there.
Mm.
So
I should just build a jump for it.
Right. So at the bottom where the loop crosses the stream again, it's a very shallow part of this stream with very lightly sloped banks. So you can just ride right in and ride out. And there's enough stepping stones that I could just walk right across it. Like I had no problem. So no bridge required at the bottom.
So is he that Scout not doing it, or you're saying at the bottom, he's still doing it at the top?
Yeah, well, let's call it the south end. He'll do the south
Right.
end by Park Road. Yeah, because when you say
I see.
bottom, since the hill goes down, it gets a little confusing.
Right, yeah.
I wrote to him and he's apologetic, and I said, hey, when do you think you can get it going? But I haven't heard back again. So, at some point we might have to let the bikers build the bridge, and but I hate to screw the scout over because then he doesn't have a Eagle project, right?
Mm.
So I just wanted to show you the predicament that, you know, I want to get this finished, but it's hard to get the scouts' attention.
What's the name of the guy who's running the bike club?
Matt
Thompson, I
Thompson.
think.
Matt something. Okay.
All right. Anything else on that?
Nope.
Okay. So next on the list, I put the Auburn Road property. Was there any changes or anything there? Were we still waiting on the appraisal or?
No. The grant's been submitted. That was submitted, you know, months ago.
Okay.
And we're just waiting for the grant cycle. So, you know, they've collected all of their applications, and now they're reviewing how much money they have and which properties come on top, and then they go down the list. Like they offer the grant to the first property, and they may or may not take it, and then they move down the list as long as they still have money.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. All right, so nothing big, no changes there. All right, so the next thing I just wanted to bring up, I was at Crossing yesterday, and I walked down to that, well, since I got the map, this lower, the lower pavilion. Is that even on the map? Oh, there it is.
It's a little black square there.
Yeah, which is apparently the hangout to do drugs. And
Did
I
you see some activity there?
Yeah, well, there was nobody there, but there was a lot of trash, a lot of drug paraphernalia trash, like homemade bongs with, you know, plastic Coke bottles and wrappers from like blunt wrapper type stuff.
So
Just-
Jeff put some cameras up there, right, Jeff?
We did have some cameras up there. They then got changed out because someone wanted them someplace else. I got the approval today to buy 2 more cameras. And I shared with Greg some correspondence that I had back and forth with the state police.
Right. Which I appreciate you doing that, Jeff.
We just kind of revealed our plan to the public here, huh?
Yeah. True,
No,
but
I want
I'm
them to know. I want them to know there's a camera, so maybe they'll stop coming.
yeah, and I'm guessing people that are smoking drugs out of plastic bottles are probably not tuned in to our meetings. But who knows? But yeah, I mean, they're not, you know, they're doing that, then they're just throwing the trash right on the ground. So they're not really, I mean, it'd be one thing if they just put in the trash can right there, you know, people probably wouldn't notice, but they're literally just doing it and then throwing the trash everywhere all over the ground there.
Is
So-
there a way to put a camera at the beginning of the park so that when people enter the park and go down there, you'd catch
We
them?
have cameras up top, but you have to figure past the basketball court, there is nothing because there's no electric down there.
Hmm.
Is there a
So
way to put it on that sign that says like, it says Crossing Park, no firearms, and there's no way to put electricity right there?
No, there's a camera there at the gate. It's a license plate camera. We get.
There-
view
right
it.
there, there's a camera at the gate. Everything's covered in that front lane. And then there's one at the top of the building that shoots down right in front of the pickleball court, right in front of the basketball court. And then we have one at the back of the building that shoots down. But again, you can tell it might be a blue car from that one on top shooting down, but you have no idea what it is.
But if it's a license plate camera, I mean, at the very least, the police should be able to.
Right, but think about this connection. So you have, you know, 30 cars going into the parking lot a day. You can't tell who dropped the bottle at the pavilion,
Right.
you know, a half a mile away. That would be a hard case to prove.
But do we think anybody's walking into the park and doing this? They're definitely driving.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I've been there. We went for a walk one day and there was, a big group of looked like high school age kids that all drove separately and all kind of gathered down there. I didn't see them actually doing anything, but I'm kind of assuming that, it's something like that going on.
Which is even scarier that they're driving and doing it.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think they're looking to get exercise and walk down there.
Just to let you know,
I guess more that they're on our roads.
Right.
this afternoon, the state police went down that way this afternoon
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
into the park down to the end.
Did they come out with anybody in the backseat?
You know what? I didn't notice. But
They are now we are now again on their radar screen. So we now have their attention again, meaning the state police.
And that was the officer that spoke at the meeting the other day.
Well, he's the lieutenant. He's one of the main ones I keep in contact with. So he's head of the barracks.
Great, thank you.
And I mean, I don't know if we can discuss what that email said, but there was some other even worse activity, I guess, that happened down there.
Just in general, someone did drop off a stolen car. Where they left it was in a great spot. We were able to get the car, make and model, and license plate number. So that was an instance that was helpful to the state police and the Parksburg police.
I guess I'm
Well, that's
just
good.
so naive to it. I don't know. I have to tell you, every time we've been there, minus in the winter, there's always teenagers in the thing, but I guess I just would think that they would be smarter and pick a more secluded spot, but I guess it's as secluded as you can get, not being in your parents' backyard, I guess.
Yeah.
Was there a reason to bring it up, Greg, just to talk about the cameras? Is that what you're?
Yeah, just to give an update that Jeff was reached out to the police and is gonna hope and get these cameras, I guess. That's all.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad we got the cameras.
Yeah.
I did notice looking in the trash can, there was at least a packaging for a case of beer in the
Yeah.
trash can.
Yeah, that stuff too. So they're doing drugs, drinking, and
Right.
driving home then. All right. So yeah, that was just an update on the fun activities going on down there. So next thing is something that we went over a while ago, which is the mowing schedule on the area on the south side of the gardens / tennis courts there. So I don't know if you guys remember, but it was back in December that we voted on changing that mowing schedule, which is it was being mowed on a regular basis, and we added it to the meadow schedule of once a year mow. So I just wanted to give you guys an update because I brought it up to the supervisors in that December meeting, and at first they seemed receptive to it, but there was never actually a decision or a vote made on it. And they said it was going to be put off till the next meeting, which would be the January meeting, but it was never voted on from there.
I don't think it
Yeah.
requires a vote, does it? I mean, it's not a.
According to Joan, she said that at that meeting that, everything that we decide has to be voted on or approved through the supervisors.
Okay.
So, I spoke with Mary about it, Mary McVeigh, and they're going to bring it up and vote on a resolution at the next meeting. So, yeah, I just wanted to give you guys an update. What's that?
the little space of grass there south of the tennis courts, right?
Correct. Yeah, and I can pull up a map because I actually kind of sketched it out here. Let me
Because
see.
I assume they'll still mow around the edges to keep it trim and then just leave the center grow, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So what I see, why is my
I think it's a great plan. Save us on mowing costs.
save on mowing? It's going to add habitat. It's going to,
Gonna retain.
and another huge thing is the stormwater runoff, because that's at the higher elevation of the park. So
Well, unfortunately, that drains to Parsons Road, but yes, it will still minimize or reduce runoff.
does it? It doesn't drain like towards the garden area?
My recollection is it drains toward the well.
Okay.
Jeff, do you remember? Do you have a topo map handy, Mary?
I remember going towards Parsons Road.
I think the healing garden is the highest point.
So when I looked at it, I looked at a topo map earlier today, and the section that we're looking at is about 10 feet higher in elevation than the gardens. It wasn't, a straight 10 feet here and then an additional 10 feet there, but it was at an angle. But it was definitely like the garden section was definitely a lower elevation, it looked like.
The bottom right corner is definitely way lower than the tennis courts.
Right. Yeah, I know it does dip down there.
But the top left corner, I can't remember if it's higher or lower.
Gotcha.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it's still reducing runoff. It doesn't matter which one flows, right? So your argument is it'll reduce stormwater runoff and it'll save on mowing.
Exactly. So this is
the only trick is, when you do want it mowed once a year, can we get the farmer's equipment in there to do a big mowing?
right.
Because we're not going to use the little riding mowers at that point. Now you got to have a tractor.
Right. And apparently Mr. Hawking doesn't see that happening unless there's a big buffer. And Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong on what I'm saying. But, I was also going to suggest that we at least see what Kenny does, if he's willing or able to get in there with a larger mower.
Yeah, Mr. Joan had directed me to work with Mr. Hawking, and he was saying that he would probably need at least a minimum of a 20-foot buffer
What do you mean buffer? Around the perimeter?
around between the tennis courts, the gardens, the trees.
Oh yeah, I think that's fine. I think what he has drawn out will work.
Yeah, I mean, this was a pretty rough estimate. But, in this measurement, this is about 1.3 acres of additional meadow that we can add, which isn't, it's not a tiny space. And Jeff, since you're on it, that it's hard to see, but that little white dot in the bottom right corner, is that a well? Did you mention that there was a well?
There is a well at the bottom right there.
Okay. So I made sure to keep that out of the box.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see it in the picture, but it is in the bottom right corner.
Yeah, it's a very small dot. It's hard to see there, but yeah, it's not inside the box that I made.
Yeah,
And
it's standpipes painted blue.
okay. So yeah, I mean, this still gives space. This whole left side, or I guess it would be the west side, still allows space for people to throw a ball or for overflow parking, which was mentioned that is what it's currently used at.
Wait, that's not true, is it? Is there a way to drive into this space?
Apparently.
Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what Joan told me, is that she didn't know how often it's used for overflow, but it has been used for overflow parking.
Oh, how would you get in? You drive between the trees that line the entrance, maybe?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you can get a tree there, I mean, how big is a mower compared, I mean, a tree?
Well-
You can get a car through there. I know a mower's probably bigger, but
Again, when I was talking to Greg this afternoon, I can tell you it has been used for overflow parking. Over 20 years, I may remember 2 or 3 times. So, I'm throwing that out. It's not like it's used every other day.
right,
Yeah, I think we've got enough other places that we can squeeze cars in if we need to.
right. Yeah, I agree.
Park along.
All right, so I was gonna, kind of put together some information and kind of give them a better idea of this, showing this map that, it'll have those buffers around all the sides, so it's not gonna look like it's just an unkempt area. It's gonna be a deliberately unmowed section.
Yep.
Greg, I can't think of what the name of it was, but what did they were saying that this could be used towards the runoff rating?
Yeah. When we met with Karen, who's designing the gardens, she said this could be used for, and I have it written down.
MS4.
That's
Yep,
it.
that's
Yeah,
exactly
MS4. This could go towards our MS4 rating by making it a meadow.
right.
So I
Yeah,
would
and she-
maybe include that to the board.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, she was very excited when, you were there. When we said that we were going to convert that to a meadow, she was pretty excited that, that would help with stormwater management. So yeah, I'll bring that up and I'll work on putting together some information for the next supervisors meeting. And
then
we can go
that-
from there.
I know it's soft topic, but isn't it really wet down by like the cell towers and stuff? Would that maybe stop some of that runoff that makes that area wet down to the side of the tennis courts on the opposite side away from the healing gardens?
Yeah, it's definitely going to help. And I know it dips down. I don't know exactly where but I know there's a pretty decent sized little dip down on that side. So, okay. Any other comments or questions or anything on that? No. So the only other thing I have, and this kind of ties into this, is I was contacted by a woman. Her name is Tracy Machalek, and she's a yoga instructor. And she is currently teaching a class at Goddard Park on a once a week basis. I don't think she did it last year. I don't know if her classes have started up yet this year, but she's doing it again this year. And she's interested in possibly teaching a class, a once a week type class of yoga at our park at Crossan. And I thought it was a pretty cool idea. The way she does it at Goddard, it's not, we're not hiring her or anything. It's on a donation basis. So, she gets 10 people and she has a recommended number that she says that, she recommends for donation, but it's all donation. And she gets a pretty good turnout, but she's kind of looking to expand a little bit. So I went there and, where's she going to do it? That was kind of where I was thinking. And that northern section right next to the gardens, I think would be a pretty decent little spot. It's next to those trees. I don't know if they'll actually get shade. I'm assuming she would do it in the evening. So I don't know if, how much sun they're going to get. But that little section there, I think would be perfect for a yoga class for, a group of people to be next to the gardens and kind of in a little peaceful spot there. So I wanted to.
Greg, I think that's a good idea. I'm just offering something in addition.
Sure.
How about down by the lower pavilion, down by that lower section, there's a nice mowed area down there.
So the pavilion we were just discussing? This
Right.
here?
So if you look that lower section there, just north of that pavilion, north of the brick trail, again, it's just a thought. That's a nice mowed area in there too, if they wanted to use it.
Yeah, I think so. I think I did walk down there. Yeah, I think as long as, yeah, I did go down there on on the north side of the path. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, it's a nice flat area. I think, I think the goal is just to have a space that's kind of not right in the middle of everyone, which, the one by the gardens would be definitely more traffic there. And just a flat area.
It depends what her intention is. Maybe she wants it by the front and she'll get a lot of people driving by and have
Yeah,
some interest.
that's true. I mean, she
maybe
said she said she has no, she can do it next to playgrounds. She can do it. She has no big preference,
Yeah. And again, I'm just offering that as an alternative because if that area gets used down there by them, then that discourages bad behavior at the pavilion.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
But why do you bring it to us? Like we don't really mind where she does it, right? It's as long as she's not taking a field that's reserved by somebody.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
She can't go sit in the center of the baseball field if the Little League has it.
right.
But other than that, is there any concern about liability or?
Yeah, you know me, I'm right away is like, she's not doing it for profit, but does she have insurance or?
I knew you were going to ask that.
You knew I was going to ask you, right? But, I mean, that's what I did for years was insurance litigation and people sue for stupider things. So.
Yeah, no, she is insured. I confirm
Sounds
that.
awesome. Yeah. So I would just say if she would have people just sign off, I don't think it's a volunteer form, but maybe she has her own form just saying you could get hurt doing yoga, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly here. I'll pull up her email.
Well, just as an extra, again, not saying we have to do it, but on her insurance policy, she can list the township as an additional insured.
Yeah, that's what I think that's a great idea, Jeff. I would have her just say, she would indemnify the township if it was an activity that, that they were doing with a yoga.
Look, it says the second paragraph is waiver required.
Yeah. Yep. And she actually attached the copy that she uses for Goddard Park.
Why is she changing parks?
She's not. She's planning on still doing Goddard. She
Just expanding.
Yeah, I think she's doing Thursday nights at Goddard, so she would do, whatever, Monday nights at Crossan.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
But she's smart. By doing it as a donation, it definitely reduces her liability because no one's under contract or expecting anything specific from her.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't really see, as long as she's covering herself and we're covered. There's pictures of her if you guys want to.
I think it's a great idea. It brings attention to the park and I think Jeff's right. The more times it's being used, I think if all of these things it's almost like the invasive weeds. The more you plant stuff, then there'll be less unsavory people hanging out at the park.
Right, exactly. It gets people outside.
So when I see your release form, that's perfect.
Yeah, here you go.
So you could suggest those couple spots to her, but basically I don't care where she goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would think for advertising
and
purposes, she would want to be up the front at the gardens where more people would see her driving by, but it's not very peaceful when the soccer club leaves and 24 cars drive by you.
Right. And, I've taken some yoga classes and, I don't really want everyone staring at me while I'm doing yoga unless I'm really good at it, which I'm not. So
is it something, Greg, like I don't want to take away from the pickleball court, but can the pickleball court be used for this alternative or it's too hard unless people have their own mats?
Yeah, I thought about that. I mean, I guess it could, but and
I would say part of the draw would be actually doing it on grass though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the draw.
No offense to Jack, but the pickleball court isn't very pretty.
Right.
Now, are we talking about our baby goats involved in this? I always
That'll
want
be
to do
phase
the
2.
yoga. I always want to do the yoga with the baby goat on my back.
I always thought that would make me pull a muscle or something.
I think the first yoga meeting should correspond with a pro meeting.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, we'll all do a yoga class
Nope.
together.
Well, I'm not up for that.
Wait, I forgot to ask you. Dave Gerstenhaber said he's up for the Board of Supervisors versus the Pro Committee in a pickleball tournament, so that we could do that instead.
Oh, definitely.
I would try that.
We can start with pickleball, then move to basketball, and then move
Yeah.
to tennis.
And then we'll all need yoga for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, any other input or, I mean, my wife even said like, we could even spread people out in the gardens when they're done and
Yeah.
on the pathways there, and they'll have an amazing little spot to do yoga.
So I don't think we need to charge a fee, right? I'm not interested in that. I think it's great to just get used to the park, but
Well, that's my opinion too, Paul.
Yeah, when you start charging, if the township starts charging, then that increases our liability.
Correct.
So if this is just a goodwill thing that the township's doing, I think if Jeff's right, if they just add as an additional insured, then it reduces the liability of.
And Greg, what we would do with that is the key phrase I was told by our insurance man would be to list Franklin Township, the Board of Supervisors, and its employees as additional insureds.
Okay.
Do you have a sample, Jeff, that you've used for something else that maybe you've had, like for our customers, we provide a sample. Maybe you have something that she could use as a sample.
I think we can come up with something.
It's probably like if you just get the same one that maybe you get from like the Little League or something like that, would be similar to that.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
Okay. So, I mean, how should I go about, should we make a motion on that or?
I don't think we need to, huh?
Okay. It seems like everyone's in agreement of it's a decent idea.
I don't know what the group thinks, but to me, I like to always try and look at the positive. So to me, this would be something positive to announce at the board meeting, but that's
Right.
just me.
Yeah.
H-
Yeah,
How would she advertise to get people to come? For the-
I think she kind of does it on her own. I'm not sure. I know she has a Facebook and I think an Instagram page that she, reaches out to people for the Goddard Park.
Okay.
I don't know if it increases liability. Is it something that could go on the website? I mean, on the Facebook page or for Franklin Township?
Well, see, Jennifer's reading my mind because if we use this at a positive at the board meeting, then I think that's the next step. Talk about that, and it's easy to do. I can do it.
Okay.
I just don't want it to be a surprise to the board, but again, phrase it as something that's positive.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see how it can't be positive,
Yeah, and then I think Jeff's idea of saying, the more people that are coming to use the park, the less unsavory people are coming to use the park.
Right. All right, great. So that's all I have for this. Does anyone else have any other additional topics? Trying to stop my broadcast here.
I actually have one other comment I meant to bring up earlier.
Sure.
While I'm not sure if this is the right group to bring this up, but while I was at the pickleball court this afternoon, a lady showed up with her 3 young kids, and she left because there were so many bees around the restroom area, storage restroom facility. There must have been 50 to 100 these large bees.
Oh, the carpet.
Really?
And
Carpenter
yeah,
bees?
and we've got the exterminator coming for the office, and I had planned on him doing it around the building because I got tired of being dive bombed.
Yeah, so Jack, those are carpenter bees most likely. If they hover in one spot and they're big like a bumblebee, that's a carpenter bee. So they don't really sting or bite or anything. I can't say they won't bite you eventually, but they don't attack very often. And it's great fun to whack them with your paddleball racket. So you can try that.
Well, actually, I told her that because I have them at my house and they like to feed on the barberry bushes. And they're actually not very aggressive, but there were a lot of them.
Yeah, so they like to drill holes in the wood around the soffit of the building.
Right. I looked around. I didn't see a nest or anything, but I mean, there were a lot of them around.
They drill a perfect 3/8 inch or a 1/2 inch hole, perfectly round.
Yeah, and what I know about them is they really, I think only the female will sting you, and it's really only if you mess with their nest. Like they're basically hovering right around their nest, and if you start kind of getting in there, that's when they're defending their nest. They'll go after you.
I had one fly in the truck one day and I didn't realize it, but when they bite, whatever they do, bite or sting, those buggers hurt.
Yeah,
Well,
that.
I just want to let you know because she left with her 3 kids because she was afraid to be, around the bees.
Yep, that's a general maintenance thing, Jack, and something I had planned to be resolved.
And just a little way to identify whether it's a carpenter bee. The carpenter bees have their butts are shiny. A bumblebee has like a soft, fuzzy butt. So you can tell the difference between the two pretty easily once you know that. All right. Well, you're our only public member again. So unless you have other comments, that's all we got.
Craig, we had talked about maybe having the next meeting together. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, I mean, what do you guys all think? I'm all for going outdoors.
Does that make sharing videos or anything harder, or is that something?
Yeah, it does, but I think it's good to meet in person once in a while.
I mean, I can bring an iPad, or if people want to.
Well, if we meet at the Township building, there's a projector, but that's not really outdoors. So if you want to meet at a park, then it's harder.
Jeff, could we, do you guys, anybody opposed if I were to say maybe we could reserve the pavilion at Crossing Park?
I'm not opposed to it, and then we can try and get Zoom to work on your iPad or whatever it is.
And we're doing Zoom as a courtesy, right? Because of the pandemic, but if we can't do it because we're meeting at the park, I'm not too worried about it.
Right, as long as we advertise it to the public, right? They can.
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
right, and I'm the one to accomplish that, so whatever you guys decide.
I think we should be able to give Jeff a week off of having to deal with technology.
We'll be giving pickleball lessons that evening.
I think that would be awesome.
Nice.
I'll bring my stuff out. Tell me what I've been doing wrong.
Nice. All right. So should we plan on assuming that we can get a pavilion, doing it at Crossing next time?
I know I'm pushing my luck with this, but any chance we could move to 6 o'clock?
I'm not opposed to that. I think
I think that's fine.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, it's dark
Sunset's at
outside right
8.
now.
Yeah, sunset's at 8 last I checked. So that would give us 2 hours. It's going to be a little later in a month.
mhm.
Yeah, you guys want to do 6 o'clock at Crossing?
Yeah,
June 2nd.
make sure you bring some bug repellent.
Bug spray, yeah.
Just going to write it down right now.
What's the date?
June
June.
2nd.
Yeah, June 2nd.
So I have one. Oh, can you do screen sharing again? So in Banffshire, one of the signposts broke off. It rotted at the ground level. So I had a neighbor repair it. So I don't know if you can, do you see a photo of a post in a truck?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it right off the ground level, so he cut it clean and sistered on a new piece of treated wood and put 4 bolts in it. So we'll put it back in the ground where it was and no one will know the difference.
Nice.
So I was afraid if I left it there on the ground, it would be lost in the weeds pretty soon. Summer coming.
Yeah, things are growing fast now.
Yeah.
Does anybody have that garlic mustard stuff all over their property?
Yeah, I have tons of it.
That's terrible. So I imagine that's going to take over all of Hampshire soon.
Is that little yellow flowers?
It's
Little
like
white,
little
white
white
flower.
flowers.
but it grows and then it drops its seed, then it'll fade off. But yeah, it's bad.
No,
It's actually, it's edible though. We make like a pesto with it. It's real good actually.
It just moved into my regular gardens now, but it's
Oh
got
no.
buds and stuff like that. But it's like long and it starts getting kind of like entangled. So that's going to take over, I think, a lot of the trails.
Yeah, now's the time to pull it if you can,
Yeah.
before
So
it
if
drops
Mr.
its seed.
Cottrell could address that after the Tree of Heaven.
Yeah, I actually talked to him about garlic mustard and he refuses to focus on that.
Yeah, it's just so hard. It's just too much.
Yeah, and it's a perennial flower. He sees it more as it's not as big of an impact versus the shrubbery and the trees.
Okay.
Um,
It's not hard to pull, so it's just
yeah, it's actually it's one of the easier ones to pull,
Yeah.
definitely.
it just will grow on all the trails. Like
Yeah, and it changes the soil the chemistry, so it kind of like poisons the soil where nothing else will grow there too. It's not a good one for sure. But yeah, Steve won't do it. I already asked him about that.
When do the cicadas show up?
first week of June.
Is that when it is?
Okay.
I mean, if it's based on history, my daughter was born the week of the cicadas. So
Oh, nice.
she's going to be 17 this year.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that should be interesting.
So actually, we might have to fight cicadas June 2nd. So we'll have to see how it goes.
Maybe they'll help us with the invasives.
Maybe we can seal coat the parking lot and they'll all stick to it, and that'll be.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they eat lanternflies.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah. Greg, I'll just reach out to you tomorrow about signature.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be on the road in the morning, but if you want to call in the afternoon, I mean, you might be able to catch me in between appointments, but if you just call me, I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
All right, cool.
Take care.
All right, thanks everyone.